The message came through on every channel at once. Captain Jake Morrison sat up straight in his chair aboard the Earth Defense Station, watching the alien text scroll across his screens. The translation software worked quickly, turning the symbols into words he could understand. Warning to all species. The Vardesh are enemies of peace. Do not give them shelter. Do not give them aid. They have been cast out from civilized space. Any who help them will face consequences. Jake frowned and leaned back. He had been in charge of this station for 3 years now, and he had never seen anything like this. The message was signed by the Galactic Council, the group of alien races that controlled most of the known universe. Earth was not part of the Council. Humans were too new to space travel, too young as a species. "Sir, we're getting something else," said Lieutenant Ben Carter from the communications desk. "It's a distress signal. Multiple ships. Badly damaged." Jake moved to Ben's station and looked at the data. 5 ships were approaching Earth's solar system. They were moving slowly, their engines barely working. The ships were leaking air and radiation. Whoever was inside them was in serious trouble. "Can you identify them?" Jake asked. Ben worked the controls, pulling up what information he could gather. "They match the description of Vardesh vessels, sir. The ones the Council just warned us about." Jake felt the weight of the moment settle on his shoulders. The Galactic Council had made their position clear. These Vardesh were not welcome anywhere. But here they were, dying in space, asking for help. "Get me a direct line to Earth Command," Jake said. "Admiral Kate Harrison needs to see this." Within minutes, Admiral Harrison's face appeared on the main screen. She was in her 60s, with short gray hair and eyes that had seen too many wars. She had been one of the first humans to meet alien species, back when Earth was just learning it was not alone. "I saw the Council's message," Kate said before Jake could speak. "And I'm looking at the data on these Vardesh ships. What's your assessment, Captain?" "They won't last another day," Jake said simply. "Maybe less." Kate was quiet for a moment. Jake could see her thinking, weighing options that would affect all of humanity. Earth was still weak compared to the Council races. One wrong move could bring war, or worse, isolation from the rest of the galaxy. "The Council has resources we need," Kate finally said. "Trade agreements, technology, protection. If we anger them—" "I know, ma'am," Jake interrupted gently. "But those are people dying out there. Doesn't matter what species they are." Kate smiled, just a little. "I was hoping you'd say that. Stand by, Captain. I need to make some calls." The next 2 hours felt like days. Jake watched the Vardesh ships drift closer, watched their life support systems failing one by one. He prepared his station's medical bay, made sure his crew was ready for anything. When Kate called back, she wasn't alone. The President of Earth, a woman named Lisa Chen, was with her. Lisa was young for a president, only in her 40s, but she had won her position by being smart and brave. "Captain Morrison," Lisa said, her voice firm. "Earth has made a decision. We're going to help the Vardesh." Jake let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. "Thank you, Madam President." "Don't thank me yet," Lisa continued. "The Council is already sending us messages. They're not happy. They say we're making a mistake that will cost us. But we didn't come this far as a species, by turning our backs on people who need help." "Understood, ma'am. What are your orders?" "Bring them in, Captain. Bring them all in. Give them whatever they need. And be ready. The Council might send ships to stop us." The transmission ended. Jake turned to his crew, saw them all watching him with a mix of fear and determination. They knew what this meant. They knew the risk. "You heard the President," Jake said. "Let's go save some lives. Lieutenant Carter, send a message to the Vardesh ships. Tell them they have permission to dock. Tell them they're safe now." "Yes, sir," Ben said, and Jake could hear the pride in his voice. The Vardesh ships limped into the station's docking bay over the next hour. Jake watched through the cameras as the hatches opened. What he saw made his chest tight. They looked almost human. 2 arms, 2 legs, faces with eyes and mouths. But their skin was pale blue, and they had no hair. Most of them were injured. Some were being carried by others. There were children among them, crying and afraid. The station's medical team, led by Dr. Amy Sullivan, rushed forward to help. Amy was one of the best doctors Jake had ever worked with. She didn't hesitate, didn't show any fear of these alien refugees. Jake went down to the docking bay himself. He needed to see them, needed to understand who they were and why the entire galaxy wanted them dead. An older Vardesh approached him. The alien walked with a limp, his arm in a makeshift bandage. But he held his head high. "I am Elder Novan," the Vardesh said in perfect English. "Their translation devices must be good. You helped us. Even after the Council's warning. We couldn't just let you die," Jake said. Novan's eyes filled with something that looked like tears. "The Council has been trying to kill us for months. We refused to give up our world, our way of life. We said no to them, and they decided we had no right to exist." Jake felt anger building in his chest. "What did you do that was so terrible?" "We wanted to be free," Novan said simply. "We wanted to choose our own path. The Council does not allow that. You either join them and follow their rules, or you are an enemy." Jake looked at the Vardesh gathering in his docking bay. Families holding each other. The injured being treated by human doctors. Children who just wanted to feel safe again. "Well, you're on Earth Station now," Jake said. "And we've never been good at following other people's rules either." The Galactic Council's response came faster than anyone expected. Just 6 hours after the Vardesh ships docked, a massive alien vessel appeared at the edge of Earth's solar system. It was a Council enforcer ship, the kind they sent when they wanted to make a point. Jake stood in the command center, watching the sensor data with growing concern. The ship was 3 times larger than anything Earth had built. Its weapons could probably destroy his station with a single shot. "They're hailing us," Ben said, his voice tight. "Put them through," Jake ordered. The screen flickered, and an alien face appeared. It belonged to a Korath, one of the Council's founding races. They looked like insects that had learned to stand upright, with multiple eyes and mandibles that clicked when they spoke. "Human station," the Korath commander said. "You are harboring criminals. Surrender the Vardesh immediately, or face destruction." Jake kept his face neutral. "These aren't criminals. They're refugees. They came to us for help. They defied the Council. That is crime enough." The Korath's mandibles clicked faster, a sign of agitation. "You are new to galactic society. You do not understand the rules. Give us the Vardesh, and we will forgive this mistake." "We're not giving you anyone," Jake said firmly. "These people asked for asylum, and we granted it. That's our right as a sovereign world." The Korath made a sound that might have been laughter. "Sovereign? You think Earth has the power to stand against the Council? You are children, playing with ships you barely understand." Before Jake could respond, Admiral Kate Harrison's voice cut in from Earth. "This is Admiral Harrison of Earth Defense Command. Captain Morrison speaks with our full authority. The Vardesh are under our protection now." The Korath's multiple eyes focused on something off-screen, probably reading data about Earth's military capabilities. "You have 12 hours to reconsider. After that, we will take the Vardesh by force." The transmission ended. Jake felt his crew looking at him, waiting for orders, waiting for him to tell them everything would be okay. "Get President Chen on the line," Jake said quietly, "and start moving the Vardesh to the transport ships. If this goes bad, I want them ready to evacuate to Earth." Down in the medical bay, Dr. Amy Sullivan was learning more about the Vardesh than any human had ever known. She worked alongside her assistant, a young medic named Chris Walker, treating injuries and studying Vardesh biology. "Their cellular structure is remarkably similar to ours," Amy said, scanning one of the children. A few differences in their blood chemistry, but nothing major. It's almost like we're cousins, separated by millions of years of evolution. Elder Novan sat nearby, watching her work with his people. Dr. Sullivan, I must ask you something. Why is Earth doing this? You know the Council will punish you. Amy paused in her work. Because it's the right thing to do. We have a saying on Earth. We judge ourselves by how we treat those who can't fight back. Your species is very young, Novan said. Most young species are selfish, concerned only with survival. We learned some hard lessons in our history, Amy replied. We learned what happens when you stand by and do nothing while others suffer. Never again, we said. We meant it, Chris spoke up from across the room. Elder Novan, can I ask you something? What did your people do that made the Council so angry? Novan sighed. We discovered something. A way to generate energy that does not require the resources the Council controls. We wanted to share it freely with all species. The Council demanded we give them exclusive rights to the technology. When we refused, they declared us enemies. Amy stopped working and looked at the old Vardesh. They wanted to monopolize your discovery? The Council maintains power through control, Novan explained. They control the resources, the trade routes, the technology. Any species that threatens that control must be eliminated or absorbed. We chose to resist. And they tried to kill you for it, Chris said, anger in his voice. They destroyed our homeworld, Novan said softly. These 5 ships are all that remain of our people. 3,000. Vardesh, out of billions. The medical bay went quiet. Amy felt tears in her eyes but pushed them back. She needed to stay focused, stay professional. But inside, she was burning with anger at the injustice of it all. Back in the command center, Jake was receiving updates from Earth. President Lisa Chen had called an emergency session of Earth's government. The debate was fierce. Some wanted to hand over the Vardesh to avoid war. Others wanted to stand firm. Captain, Ben said suddenly. We're getting more ships on sensors. Not Council ships. These are. I think they're Vardesh. Jake looked at the screen. Dozens of small ships were entering the solar system, all broadcasting Vardesh identification codes. How is that possible? Jake asked. Novan said these 5 ships were all that survived. Incoming transmission, Ben said. It's from one of the new ships. A young Vardesh woman appeared on screen. She looked fierce, determined. Earth Station. This is Commander Sarah of the Vardesh Resistance. We heard what you did. We heard you stood against the Council for us. We're here to stand with you. Jake felt hope surge in his chest. Commander Sarah, welcome. But you should know. The Council has given us 12 hours to surrender your people, or they'll attack. Sarah smiled, showing teeth. Then we fight. We have been fighting the Council for months. We know their tactics, their weaknesses. If Earth is willing to stand with us, we will gladly share what we know. How many ships do you have? Jake asked. 47 combat vessels, Sarah replied. Small, but fast and well-armed. We've been hitting Council supply lines, freeing other refugees. When we heard about Earth, we knew we had to come. Jake made a decision. Dock your ships, Commander. Let's talk strategy. If we're going to do this, we're going to do it right. Over the next few hours, the situation transformed. The Vardesh Resistance brought not just ships, but information. They had intelligence on Council fleet movements, weaknesses in their formations, ways to disrupt their communications. Earth's military leaders joined the planning session. Admiral Kate was there, along with General Danny Foster from the Earth Space Marines. They listened to what Sarah had to say, asked questions, and started formulating a plan. The Council relies on intimidation, Sarah explained. They send one big ship to scare enemies into submission. They don't expect resistance from younger species. So they're not expecting us to fight back, General Foster said. Exactly, Sarah confirmed. And they definitely don't expect coordination between Earth and Vardesh forces. We can use that. End quote. Jake looked at the battle plans taking shape on the screens. It was risky. Maybe even crazy. But it might work. We have one advantage, Jake said. This is our home system. We know every asteroid, every orbital pattern. We can use that. Admiral Kate nodded. Captain Morrison is right. We'll set up defensive positions here, here, and here. She pointed to spots on the tactical display. Vardesh ships will provide mobile support. When the council ship comes in, we'll be ready. President Lisa Chen's face appeared on the main screen. I've just finished addressing Earth. The people have voted. We stand with the Vardesh. Whatever comes, we face it together. Jake felt pride swell in his chest. This was humanity at its best. Standing up for what was right, even when it was dangerous. The 12 hours passed, like minutes. Jake watched the countdown timer on his screen, knowing that when it hit 0, everything would change. Around him, his crew worked in focused silence, preparing for what was coming. The Vardesh refugees had been moved to Earth's surface to secure facilities where they would be safe. Only the resistance fighters remained in space, their ships positioned according to the battle plan. Commander Sierra's vessel was docked next to Jake's station. She had come aboard to coordinate their forces, and Jake found himself impressed by her tactical mind. She was young, maybe equivalent to a human in their late 20s, but she had been fighting the Council for years. 3 minutes. Ben announced from his station. All ships report ready, added Lieutenant Sophie Martinez, who was handling fleet coordination. Jake opened a channel to all Earth and Vardesh vessels. This is Captain Morrison. In a few minutes, the Council is going to learn something important about humanity. We don't back down from bullies. We don't abandon those who need our help. And we definitely don't surrender. Without a fight. Stay focused, follow the plan, and we'll get through this together. Responses came back from dozens of ships, human and Vardesh alike. They were ready. The timer hit 0. For a moment, nothing happened. Then space itself seemed to ripple, and the Council Enforcer ship appeared. It was even bigger, up close. A massive wedge of metal and energy that blotted out the stars. Incoming transmission, Ben said. The Koreth commander appeared on screen again. Your time is up, humans. Surrender the Vardesh, or we will open fire. We told you our answer, Jake said calmly. The Vardesh are under Earth's protection. If you want them, you'll have to go through us. The Koreth's mandibles clicked in what might have been frustration. So be it. Your species will learn a hard lesson today about defying the Council. The transmission ended. Immediately, the Enforcer ship's weapons came online. Energy readings spiked across Jake's sensors. They're charging their main cannon, Sophie called out. Target is the station. All ships, execute Plan Alpha, Jake ordered. The response was immediate. 20 Earth defense ships that had been hiding in the shadow of nearby asteroids suddenly powered up and moved into position. At the same time, Vardesh fighters shot forward from multiple directions. The Council ship had expected to face a stationary target. Instead, it found itself surrounded by fast-moving attackers coming from all angles. Fire, Jake commanded. Earth ships opened up with everything they had. Missiles streaked through space. Energy weapons carved bright lines across the darkness. The Vardesh fighters wove between the attacks, their smaller weapons targeting specific points on the Enforcer's hull that Sarah had identified as weak spots. The Council ship's shields flared as they absorbed the assault, but Jake could see the energy readings fluctuating. The shields were strong, but they couldn't cover the entire massive ship equally. Target the shield generators, Sarah said, her fingers dancing over her control panel. Here, here, and here. Jake relayed the coordinates to the fleet. Earth ships concentrated their fire on the designated points, while Vardesh fighters harassed the Council ship from all sides. One of the shield generators exploded in a shower of sparks. The Enforcer's shields flickered and reformed. But now, there was a gap. "Press the advantage." General Foster's voice came through from his command ship. The Earth Space Marines were providing heavy fire support from their cruiser, but the Council wasn't going to give up easily. The Enforcer ship began firing back, its weapons tracking the smaller Earth and Vardesh vessels with deadly precision. "We're taking hits," Sophie reported. "Defense Ship 7 reports major damage." "They're falling back." Defense Ship 12 is destroyed," Ben added, his voice shaken. Jake felt each loss like a physical blow. Those were his people dying out there. But he couldn't let emotion cloud his judgment now. "All ships, pattern beta," he ordered. "Keep moving. Don't let them get a lock on you." The battle turned into a deadly dance. Earth and Vardesh ships darted in and out, striking and retreating, never staying in one place long enough for the Council's powerful weapons to track them effectively. It was working, but slowly. The Enforcer ship's shields were weakening, but Earth was losing ships too. At this rate, Jake wasn't sure who would win. Then Sarah spoke up. "Captain, I have an idea. It's risky." "Tell me," Jake said. "The Council ship's main cannon is charging. When it fires, there's a brief moment when power is diverted from the rear shields. If we can time it right, we can punch through." "How brief?" Jake asked. 3 seconds. Maybe 4. Jake looked at the tactical display. It would require perfect timing and incredible luck, but it might be their only chance to end this before they lost too many ships. "How do we know when they're about to fire?" Jake asked. "Their energy signature changes." "I can detect it." Sarah pulled up data on her screen. "There. They're charging now. Target is your station again." Jake made a decision. "All ships, when I give the word, concentrate all fire on the Enforcer's rear shields. Sarah will mark the exact spot. Captain, if we miss the window, those ships will be exposed," Sophie warned. "I know, but this is our best shot." Jake took a deep breath. "Sarah, mark the target and send it to all ships. Everyone else, be ready." Jake 2. Jake 2. The seconds ticked by. Jake watched the energy readings from the Council ship climb higher and higher as the main cannon charged. "They're almost ready to fire," Sarah said, her voice tense. "All ships target locked?" Jake asked. Affirmatives came back from every vessel. "Fire on my mark," Jake said. The Council ship's main cannon fired, a massive beam of energy that shot toward Jake's station. At the same instant, Jake shouted, "Mark!" Every Earth and Vardesh ship fired at the designated point on the Enforcer's rear shields. The combined firepower was enormous, focused on a single spot at the exact moment when the shields were weakest. The shields shattered. Missiles and energy weapons punched through the gap, slamming into the Enforcer's hull. Secondary explosions rippled across the Council ship as systems failed and power conduits overloaded. Meanwhile, Jake's station's own shields absorbed the main cannon blast. Alarms blared, and systems went red, but the station held. "We did it," Ben shouted. "The Enforcer's engines are offline. They're dead in space." But Jake wasn't celebrating yet. "Damage report. How bad are we hit?" "Taupe. Dock. 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 Station shields are at 12%, Sophie said. "We won't survive another shot like that." "The Enforcer can't fire another shot," Sarah said, studying her sensors. "Their main power core is failing. They're evacuating the ship." Jake watched as escape pods began launching from the Council vessel. Dozens of them, carrying the crew to safety. "Let them go," Jake ordered. "We're not here to kill anyone. We just wanted them to leave us alone." As the last escape pod launched, the massive Enforcer ship went dark. It hung in space, broken and powerless. Captain, we're being hailed, Ben said. Multiple sources. Other council species want to talk. Jake frowned. Put them through. The screen split into multiple sections, showing different alien faces. Some Jake recognized from Earth's limited contact with the Galactic Council. Others were completely new. One of them, a reptilian creature, spoke first. Captain Morrison of Earth, we have been watching this battle. We have seen what you did for the Vardesh. And? Jake asked carefully. And we want you to know that not all council members supported the war against the Vardesh. The reptilian continued. Some of us spoke against it, but we were outvoted, threatened into silence. Another alien, this one looking almost like a bird, chimed in. What the council did to the Vardesh, they have done to others. Many others. We have been waiting for someone brave enough to stand against them. Jake began to understand. You want Earth to lead a resistance. We want Earth to show us that it is possible to say no to the council and survive, the reptilian said. You have done that today. The days following the battle were chaotic. News of Earth's victory spread across the galaxy faster than anyone expected. The council tried to suppress the information, but it was too late. Everyone had heard what happened. Jake found himself in meeting after meeting, talking with alien species he had never heard of. They all wanted the same thing: to understand how Earth had stood up to the Council. And won. President Lisa Chen addressed the United Nations, with representatives from dozens of alien species watching. Jake was there too, standing at attention in his uniform, still tired from the battle. We did not seek conflict with the Galactic Council, Lisa said, her voice carrying to every corner of the assembly hall and beyond, to screens across Earth and throughout space. We only wanted to help people in need. The Vardesh came to us as refugees, and we gave them shelter. That is not a crime. That is compassion. One of the council's representatives, a tall being made of what looked like living crystal, stood to speak. Earth has violated galactic law. There will be consequences. Lisa met the crystal being's gaze without flinching. Then, change your laws. Any law that says we must turn away dying refugees is not a law worth following. The crystal being seemed taken aback. In all its years dealing with younger species, it had probably never heard such direct defiance. Admiral Kate Harrison took the floor next. The Council can send more ships if they want. They can threaten us, try to intimidate us. But Earth will not change its position. We will continue to offer shelter to any species that needs it. You are one small planet, the crystal being said. You cannot stand against the might of the Council. Maybe not, General Foster spoke up from his seat. But we're not alone anymore. On cue, representatives from a dozen other species stood up. The reptilian and bird-like aliens who had contacted Jake after the battle were there, along with others. They all wore symbols of their homeworlds, but they stood together. The reptilian ambassador spoke. My people, the Drax, stand with Earth. We have suffered under council tyranny for too long. We will shelter the outcasts as well. One by one, other species declared their support. Not all of them were powerful military forces. Some were small, barely spacefaring civilizations, but together, they represented a significant portion of the galaxy. The crystal being looked around the assembly hall, its expression unreadable. You are making a mistake. The Council has maintained order in this galaxy for thousands of years. Without us, there will be chaos. Maybe, Lisa said quietly. Or maybe there will be freedom. We're willing to find out. The Council representative left without another word. But Jake knew this wasn't over. The Council would regroup, would plan their next move. Earth and its new allies needed to be ready. Down on Earth's surface, in a secure facility outside of Geneva, the Vardesh refugees were building a new life. Elder Novan walked through the temporary housing units, checking on his people, making sure they had what they needed. Dr. Amy Sullivan was there too, having come down from the station to continue her work. She was teaching human medics about Vardesh biology and learning about Vardesh medicine in return. Dr. Sullivan, Novan said as he found her in one of the medical tents. I wanted to thank you again. For everything. Amy smiled. You don't need to keep thanking us, Elder. We're happy to help. But you risked so much. Novan insisted. Your whole planet. Your future in the galaxy. All for people you didn't even know. Amy put down the medical scanner she was holding. Elder Novan, can I tell you a story? Of course. A long time ago on Earth, there was a terrible war. Millions of people died. After that war, we discovered that millions more had been killed just because of who they were, what they believed in. We said never again. We promised ourselves that we would never stand by and watch innocents die. But you have stood by before, Novan said gently. I have studied Earth's history. You have not always lived up to that promise. You're right, Amy admitted. We've failed many times. But that doesn't mean we stop trying. Every time we have a chance to do better, to be better, we have to take it. The Vardesh needed help, and we were in a position to give it. It was really that simple. Novan was quiet for a moment. Your species is remarkable. You are so young, yet you have such clear moral conviction. We're not perfect, Amy said. Far from it. But we're trying. And with friends like the Vardesh, maybe we can build something better than what the Council offers. Elsewhere in the facility, Commander Sira was meeting with Earth's military leaders. She had maps and data displays showing Council territories, trade routes, and military installations. The Council's power comes from three things, Sira explained to General Foster and a room full of Earth officers. Control of resources, control of trade, and control of information. If we can disrupt any of these, we weaken them. What do you suggest? Foster asked. We start small. There are dozens of species like mine, cast out by the Council for various reasons. We find them, offer them shelter, bring them into our alliance. Each one makes us stronger. A young Earth officer named Captain Greg Hamilton spoke up. But won't that provoke the Council into attacking us? They're going to attack anyway, Sarah said bluntly. The question is whether we're ready when they do. Every species we help, every refugee we shelter, is another ally in the fight to come. Foster nodded. I'll take this to the President. But I think you're right. We need to build our coalition while we can. Back on the defense station, Jake was dealing with a different kind of problem. Ships were arriving at Earth every day now. Some were refugees, fleeing Council persecution. Others were traders, curious about Earth and willing to risk Council anger to do business with humanity. Captain, we have another group requesting asylum, Ben said. This time, it's a species called the Tilok. About 200 individuals. What's their story? Jake asked. They refused to give up control of their orbital mining facilities. The Council wanted to nationalize all mining operations under Council management. The Tilok said, No. 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 Jake sighed. It was the same pattern every time. A species wanted independence, wanted to control their own resources and destiny. The Council demanded submission. When the species refused, they were branded as criminals and hunted down. Tell them they're welcome, Jake said. And get President Chen on the line. She needs to know we're getting more refugees. Lisa's face appeared on his screen a few minutes later. She looked tired but determined. How many does this make? She asked. The Tilok will bring our total to about 15,000 refugees from 8 different species, Jake reported. We're running out of space. I've been talking with the other nations, Lisa said. We're setting up new facilities. Australia has offered to host several thousand. Canada and Brazil are preparing sites as well. We'll make room. Madam President, at some point the Council is going to respond with force again. A lot of force. I know, Captain. Admiral Harrison is already working on planetary defenses. We're building more ships, training more crews. The Vardesh are sharing their technology with us. We'll be ready. And if we're not? Jake asked. Lisa was quiet for a moment. Then we go down fighting. But at least we'll go down knowing we stood for something that mattered. That night, Jake stood at an observation window, looking out at Earth hanging in the distance. It looked so peaceful from here. A blue and green marble floating in the black. It was hard to believe that this planet, so young in galactic terms, was now at the center of a growing rebellion. Sira joined him at the window. Beautiful, she said. It is, Jake agreed. I hope we can keep it that way. The Council will come for Earth eventually, Sira said. You know that, right? This isn't over. I know. But we bought ourselves some time. And we made some friends. More than friends, Sarah corrected. You made allies. Real ones. Species that will fight beside you because they believe in what you're doing. Jake looked at her. What about you? What do the Vardesh believe in? Sarah smiled. We believe in survival. We believe in freedom. And we believe that maybe, just maybe, Earth is crazy enough to help us achieve both. 3 months after the battle, Earth had changed in ways no one could have predicted. The planet that had been isolated and barely noticed by the galaxy was now the center of an alliance that spanned dozens of systems. Jake stood in the command center of the newly built defense platform, much larger than his old station. Around him, his crew worked alongside Vardesh, Drax, Tilak, and half a dozen other species. It had been strange at first, working with so many different aliens. But they had learned to trust each other. Captain, we're getting a priority message from deep space, Ben said. Put it through, Jake ordered. A face he didn't recognize appeared on screen. The alien looked exhausted, frightened. This is Captain Vex of the Korath vessel, Independent Thought. We are requesting asylum at Earth. Jake felt his crew tense. The Korath were one of the founding races of the Galactic Council. They were the enforcers. The true believers in Council power. Captain Vex, can you explain why a Korath ship is requesting asylum? Jake asked carefully. Because I and my crew have seen the truth, Vex said, his mandibles clicking rapidly. The Council is corrupt. They serve only themselves. When I spoke against their treatment of the Vardesh, I was branded a traitor. They will kill me if they find me. How many are with you? Jake asked. 347. Mostly Korath, but also some from other Council species who share my views. Jake muted the channel and turned to his crew. Opinions? It could be a trap, Sophie said. Or it could be genuine, Sira countered. She had been promoted to Earth's chief military advisor. Not all Korath support the Council. I've encountered resistance among them before. Get me, President Chen, Jake decided. This is above my pay grade. The decision took less than an hour. Lisa Chen appeared on screen, and her message was clear. Let them come. We don't turn away people who need help, no matter who they are. Captain Vex's ship arrived 2 days later. It was a sleek Korath cruiser, heavily armed, but showing signs of battle damage. The crew that disembarked were wary, expecting hostility. Instead, they found Dr. Amy Sullivan and her team ready to treat their injuries. Welcome to Earth, Amy said to Captain Vex. We have medical facilities ready if you need them. Vex's multiple eyes focused on her. You are treating us? After what my species did to you? You're not your species, Amy said simply. You're individuals who stood up for what's right. That's all that matters to us. In the weeks that followed, more defectors came. Not just Korath, but members of all the major Council races. Scientists who disagreed with the Council's monopoly on technology. Soldiers who were tired of fighting wars of conquest. Teachers who wanted to share knowledge freely instead of hoarding it. Earth's new alliance grew stronger every day. But the Council was not idle. Admiral Kate Harrison stood in Earth's military command center. reviewing intelligence reports with a grim expression. "They're massing a fleet," she said to General Foster and the other military leaders. "At least 50 ships, maybe more. This time, they're not sending a single enforcer to intimidate us. They're coming to destroy us." "When?" Foster asked. 2 weeks. Maybe 3. They're being careful, making sure they have overwhelming force. "Can we win?" President Lisa Chen asked. She had joined the meeting via video link. Kate was quiet for a moment. "Honestly? I don't know. We've built up our forces, and we have allies now. But the Council still has numbers on their side. Then we make sure numbers aren't enough," Sarah said. She pulled up a tactical display. "The Council fights conventional battles. They rely on formation and firepower. But we can be unpredictable. We can use tactics they've never seen before." "Like what?" Foster asked. "Like this." Sarah began outlining a plan that made even the experienced Earth officers nervous. It involved splitting their forces, using guerrilla tactics, targeting supply lines instead of engaging in direct combat. "It's risky," Kate said when Sarah finished. "Everything is risky right now," Sarah countered. "But this gives us a chance." The plan was approved. Over the next 2 weeks, Earth and its allies prepared. Ships were positioned throughout the solar system. Weapons were stockpiled, and everyone knew that when the Council fleet arrived, it would be the fight of their lives. Jake spent his time making sure his crews were ready. He visited every ship, talked to every captain, human and alien alike. He wanted them to know why they were fighting. On one of these visits, he found Elder Novan standing on the observation deck of a Vardesh ship, looking at Earth. "Elder," Jake said, as he approached, "shouldn't you be in a shelter on the surface? It's safer there." "I am too old to hide," Novan said. "If the Council comes, I will face them here, with the people who gave us shelter. I will resuited. I will not pline. We have a with a resuited. I will face them here. I am too old to hide. I will face them." "We're going to protect you," Jake said. "All of you." "That's a promise." Novan turned to look at him. "Captain Morrison, you have already done more than anyone could ask. You have given my people hope. Whatever happens now, we are grateful." "We're not done yet," Jake said firmly. "We're going to win this." The Council fleet arrived exactly when Kate's intelligence said it would. 53 ships, all heavily armed, all ready for battle. They formed up at the edge of the solar system, a show of force meant to intimidate. But this time, Jake and his allies were ready. "All ships, this is Captain Morrison." Jake broadcast on all channels. "The Council thinks they can scare us with numbers. They think we'll surrender, rather than fight. They're wrong. Today, we show them that freedom is worth fighting for. Today, we show them that Earth stands with its friends, no matter what." The response was deafening. Hundreds of voices, human and alien, shouting their agreement. The battle began. But this time, it didn't go the way the Council expected. Earth's forces didn't meet them head-on. Instead, they scattered, using the asteroids and planets as cover. They struck from unexpected angles, hit supply ships, disabled communications. The Council fleet, used to fighting opponents who stood and traded fire, didn't know how to respond. They chased Earth ships through the asteroid belt, only to find themselves ambushed by Vardesh fighters. They tried to regroup, but Drax cruisers attacked their flanks. It was chaos, beautiful, and terrible. Jake commanded the battle from his platform, coordinating with Sierra and the other commanders. They adapted on the fly, responding to the Council's moves with tactics the Ancient Alliance had never encountered. "Captain, the Council flagship is trying to retreat," Ben reported. "Don't let them," Jake ordered. "If that ship escapes, they'll just come back with more forces." Earth ships pursued the flagship, harassing it, damaging its engines. Finally, with nowhere to run, the Council flagship surrendered. The battle was over. Jake stood in the command center, hardly able to believe it. They had won. Against all odds, Earth and its allies had defeated the Galactic Council's fleet. "Captain, we're being hailed," Sophie said. "It's the Council flagship." The alien commander on screen looked defeated. "Earth, we did not expect this. We did not think you could stand up to you," Jake finished. "We're full of surprises. What happens now?" the alien asked. Jake looked at Sierra, at Kate, and Foster, who were watching from their ships. At the faces of all the species who had fought together. "Now, we build something better. An alliance based on cooperation, not domination. Where species are free to make their own choices. Where refugees are welcomed, not hunted. The Council will never accept this," the alien said. "Then the Council can change, or it can fall apart," Jake said. "That's up to you." Months later, Jake stood in a ceremony hall on Earth. Around him were representatives from 30 different species, all part of the new alliance. They called it the Free Coalition. And it was growing every day. President Lisa Chen was giving a speech, talking about hope and freedom and the future. Jake only half listened. His mind was on everything that had happened. Everything that had changed. Elder Novin approached him. "Captain Morrison, I wanted to give you something." He held out a small crystal. "This contains all of our people's knowledge, everything we've learned over thousands of years. We want Earth to have it, to share it freely with all who wish to learn." Jake took the crystal carefully. "It is we who should thank you," Novin said. "Earth took us in when no one else would. You fought for us, died for us. We will never forget that." Jake looked around the hall, at all the different species talking and laughing together. Humans working alongside Vardesh. Korath, who had left the Council, sharing ideas with Drax scientists. It was beautiful, this tapestry of differences united by common values. "You know what the best part is?" Jake said to Novin. "What?" "This is just the beginning. The galaxy cast you out, but Earth chose to harbor you. And look what we built together." Sierra joined them, a smile on her face. "The Council is fragmenting. More species are leaving every day, joining the Free Coalition. Within a year, they might not exist at all." "Good," Jake said. "It's time for something new. Something better." "Earth did this," Novin said. "Your species showed the galaxy a different way." "No," Jake corrected gently. "We did this together. Earth just opened the door, but all of you walked through it with us." Outside, Earth hung in the sky, blue and beautiful and free. And across the galaxy, more ships were coming, more refugees seeking shelter, more allies joining the cause. The galaxy had cast them out, but Earth had chosen to harbor them. And together, they were building a future where no one would ever be cast out again.